The stars over Station Serin 9 were calm that night until the sky began to move. At first, the alien astronomers thought it was a glitch. Their sensors showed a strange pulse deep beyond the galactic rim where nothing should exist. It wasn't a star or a nebula. It was a wave, heavy, rhythmic, and growing stronger every second. Inside the observatory dome, the lead scientist, Dr. Velaroon, stared at the glowing hologram. The energy spike pulsed like a heartbeat. "This can't be natural," he whispered. "It's coordinated." The room fell silent. Every eye turned toward the screen as the pulse changed shape. Now it looked like a pattern, repeating symbols buried in the noise. A technician gasped. "Doctor, it's a signal." Across the galaxy, hundreds of listening stations received the same reading. Massive gravitational ripples echoed through dark space, bending light, shaking asteroids, and warping time itself. The Galactic Council was alerted within the hour. Emergency messages flew between empires. The Andromedan Union, the Kryn Republic, the Tarsin Collective, every major species sent their best minds to investigate. They all came to one terrifying conclusion. Something was coming. A day later, the skies above Serin 9 tore open. A black tear spread across the void, silent, cold, and impossibly large. Out of that wound in space, shadows began to form. Not meteors, not debris, ships, thousands of them. They appeared in perfect formation, lined like soldiers waiting for command. Each one was massive, metal grey with hulls shaped for war, their surfaces covered in strange markings no one recognized. The crew stared in awe. "What are those?" someone whispered. "They're ancient," Vel said, "but no design matches our archives, no transmission, no energy signature, no communication." The ship simply drifted, silent and steady, like a sleeping army. When the Galactic Council received the images, the entire chamber erupted into panic. Holoscreens filled the air, each one showing the same terrifying fleet on the outer rim. The delegates of 100 species shouted over each other. The formation extends over 10 light years. No species builds ships that large. Could it be the machine lords returning? At the center of the chaos, the council speaker raised his trembling voice. "Identify the fleet." "Who commands them?" Hours passed. Experts analyzed every curve of the hulls, every signal burst, every wavelength. Then one old historian, pale with fear, stood and pointed to the faint writing on one of the ships. "I know that language," he said. "It's ancient Terran script." The room froze. "Terran?" the speaker repeated. "That's impossible. The humans destroyed themselves 1,000 years ago. In the darkness of the alien chamber, the historian brought up an old forbidden archive. Dusty records, sealed for centuries, projected the image of a blue planet, Earth, once home to a race that rose faster, burned brighter, and fell harder than any before it. The last entry in the file read, "The human wars ended with the destruction of Sol. No survivors." And yet, in the newest image from the edge of the galaxy, the ships bore clear words across their armored hulls. UNS Vanguard, UNS Titan, UNS Orpheus. The humans were gone. But their ships were here. Dr. Velaroon's team sent a probe closer to the fleet. The probe transmitted for exactly 12 seconds before its signal cut off mid-transmission. When they recovered the last recorded frame, everyone fell silent. It showed the fleet again, but now their lights were on. Every ship's engines burned white, and deep inside the static of the probe's dying signal, a single human voice spoke in a long-forgotten language. "Earth endures." The message was short, but every translator confirmed it. The same two words, over and over. The Galactic Council reconvened. Tension filled the chamber. No one wanted to believe it. If humanity had survived, if their fleet had returned, then the galaxy was no longer safe. The council speaker turned toward the military command delegates. "Send the reconnaissance fleets. We need answers, now." Armadas launched across 100 sectors, but none returned. Their last transmissions always ended the same way, a shadow crossing the stars, a blinding flash of light, then static. The council grew desperate. They began to argue, to accuse one another. Some believed it was a trick by rival empires. Others whispered the old legend that the humans had vanished not in defeat, but in preparation. In hidden corners of the galaxy, old veterans of forgotten wars still remembered the name humanity with dread. The species that never surrendered. The species that made war an art. Weeks later, the signal changed again. This time it wasn't random. It was a clear transmission, broadcast on every known frequency. The voice was calm, steady, and filled with authority. To all civilizations of the galactic sphere, this is the United Nations Expeditionary Command. We are returning to reclaim what was lost. Earth endures. Stand by. The alien council chamber went deathly quiet. No one dared to speak. Then, on the main screen, the fleet moved for the first time. Thousands of ships turned in perfect unison, their engines blazing like newborn stars. They were heading inward, toward the galactic core, toward the worlds of the living. Dr. Velaroon watched the images in silence. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest. The universe had just changed forever, he whispered to himself, almost in awe. They're back. The fleet passed through a red nebula, its light painting their hulls in blood-colored glow. As the lead ship emerged, the camera zoomed in on its ancient metal surface. Through the dust of centuries, one marking was clear: Human Vanguard, Earth's first and final guardian. The screen flickered, then cut to black, leaving only the echo of that haunting message: Earth endures. For 1,000 years, every record agreed on one thing: humanity was extinct. Their wars had burned entire systems. Their arrogance had drawn the fury of every great empire. When their homeworld, Earth, was bombed into silence, the galaxy celebrated and moved on. But now their fleet had returned, and no one understood how. Inside the shining towers of the Galactic Council, panic had replaced reason. The chamber's air shimmered with holographic projections, the same image repeated from hundreds of listening posts. A fleet of colossal warships moving across the void in perfect formation. The council speaker, a tall, crystalline being from the Letheran species, raised his voice. Every historian here swore that the humans destroyed themselves. What then are we seeing? An old veteran from the Tarsin Collective slammed his fist on the table. I fought them once. I saw their fury. That fleet is Terran. There is no mistake, the younger delegates whispered in fear. How did they survive? Where have they been hiding? Why return now? The speaker turned to his aides. Send a message. Attempt communication. Offer peace. The council's message raced across light years, transmitted through every frequency. It said, Unknown fleet, identify yourselves. You are entering sovereign territory of the Galactic Union. We come in peace, but the fleet never answered. For 3 long days, the ships drifted through the dark, silent, disciplined, and impossibly still. They neither attacked nor retreated. Then, on the 4th day, a new signal erupted from their side. It was simple. Just 4 words, in old Terran code, reclaiming lost territory. Earth endures. The entire galaxy heard it. In the grand academies of the Kryn Republic, professors of ancient history opened sealed archives that had been untouched for centuries. They found the records of the last human war, the stories their ancestors had buried out of shame and fear. The files told of a species that had advanced faster than any other, whose curiosity had turned into dominance. They had built weapons that could shatter moons, engines that could fold reality, and armies that never surrendered. But their ambition had made them dangerous. The alien coalitions had united to stop them. The war had consumed entire sectors, until Earth was struck down and burned. That was supposed to be the end. On Station Serin 9, Dr. Velaroon and his team watched as their scanners updated. "Doctor," said his assistant, "they're spreading out." The fleet was no longer motionless. It was expanding, ships moving with precision to surround the nearest star system. Vel leaned closer. "They're mapping." "Not invading. They're scanning for something." One of the technicians frowned. "What could they be looking for?" Vel stared at the pattern of their movements, and then realization hit him. "They're searching for home. Meanwhile, across the stars, small colonies began to go silent. First, a mining outpost in the Tarsin Belt, then a research station near Varek 12. When rescue fleets arrived, they found nothing, no survivors, no debris, not even radiation. It was as if those places had never existed. The only trace left behind were fragments of strange devices floating in orbit. Black metal cubes engraved with a single emblem, the crest of old Earth. Back in the council chamber, fear turned to anger. Admiral Serath of the Kryn Republic rose from his seat. "They are ghosts from another age. We must strike before they strike us." "Strike them?" Another delegate shouted. "Do you even understand their power? That fleet is older than our civilization." Serath's voice thundered. "If humanity has returned, then so has war." Without permission, Serath's fleet mobilized. Hundreds of ships armed themselves and jumped toward the dark region where the human formation drifted. The council demanded a retreat. Serath ignored them. For 2 hours his fleet advanced, until their sensors locked on to the massive ship at the center of the human armada, UNS Vanguard. "Open communication," Serath ordered. No response. He repeated the command 3 times. Still silence. Then out of the black, a single human voice cut through every channel. "Turn back. You are trespassing on Sol territory," the admiral smiled coldly. "Sol, the human system is dust," the voice returned, colder, sharper. "Not anymore." Before Serath could reply, the stars lit up. Thousands of energy signatures bloomed at once, the entire human fleet activating in perfect unison. The alien crews stared in disbelief as readings spiked beyond anything their scanners could measure. The Kryn ships opened fire first, but their beams simply vanished against the humans' invisible shields. Seconds later, the UNS Vanguard responded. One shot, just one. A beam of pale light crossed space faster than thought. Serath's flagship, a cruiser 5 kilometers long, disintegrated instantly. His entire fleet followed, consumed in silence. When the light faded, only empty space remained. Across the galaxy, every species received the same new transmission. Warning issued. Sol system under reclamation. Trespassers will be removed. The council chamber fell into chaos. Armies mobilized. Civilizations prepared for war. Dr. Velaroon watched from his observatory, fear tightening his chest. He whispered the words that millions now repeated across the stars. They said humanity was gone, but they were only waiting. Cameras from a distant satellite catch the image of the UNS Vanguard turning toward the Galactic center. Its engines burn bright like a rising sun. As the signal fades, a faint message cuts through the static. A female voice this time, steady and calm. "This is Admiral Mara Keen of the Terran fleet. We're coming home." The galaxy held its breath. The human fleet, thousands of warships, now drifted just beyond the council's borders. Silent and unmoving. Every telescope, every scanner, every spy satellite was locked on them. And yet, for all their power, the fleet made no move to attack. They were waiting, but for what, no one knew. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, fear had turned to fury. Admiral Serath's fleet was gone, erased in a single strike. No debris, no signals. Nothing but silence. The council speaker's voice trembled. One shot. An entire armada destroyed. An insectoid delegate hissed. "They did not destroy, they erased." "Who fights like that?" The oldest member of the council, a scaled elder from the Yasar Dominion, leaned forward. "Humans," he said. "That is how humans fight." The chamber fell into stunned quiet. He continued, voice low and heavy. "They fought us once long ago. Their strategy was never to win quickly. They fought until their enemies broke themselves in fear. Meanwhile, on Station Serin 9, Dr. Velaroon's team had not slept in days. Every hour, new data came in. Positions, formations, energy signatures. The human fleet had arranged itself into an enormous pattern, a spiral centered on one massive ship, the UNS Vanguard. Vel stared at the holographic map. "They're not random," he said. "They're mapping the star currents. They're building something, his assistant frowned. Building? In open space? Vel nodded. Yes, and they're doing it faster than any known technology should allow. The silence in the lab was thick. Outside the viewing window, tiny specks of light blinked across the void. Hundreds of unmanned human drones moving like insects, forming structures too large to comprehend. Far across the stars, on the UNS Vanguard, Admiral Mara Keen stood in the command chamber, eyes locked on the holographic display of the galaxy. Status. She asked. Phase 1 complete, replied her operations officer. Defensive perimeter established. All ARC fleets synced. Keen nodded slowly. How long before they try again? Not long, Admiral. They're afraid, but fear always makes them act. The Admiral's expression was calm, but her eyes carried the weight of 1,000 years. Then we prepare. We came here for Sul, not war. But if war is forced upon us, she turned toward the star-filled void. We finish it. Back in the Council's war room, paranoia spread like infection. Reports of human drones near outer colonies were pouring in. Ships had gone missing. Mining worlds were silent. Enough! Shouted a reptilian warlord from the Tarsan Collective. We cannot hide behind words. Mobilize the core defense fleets. But others hesitated. The Kryn scholars had analyzed the human transmission in detail. There was no declaration of war, one said. They said reclaiming lost territory. What if they only want their home system? The council speaker's crystal form flickered as he shouted, You cannot reason with ghosts. They remember what we did to their world. At that, the entire hall went quiet again. Everyone knew the story. The bombing of Earth, an atrocity buried in silence for a millennium. Now, the ghosts of that act were moving through the dark. In a remote mining sector, a small alien freighter crew made visual contact with one of the human ships. It was enormous, hundreds of kilometers long, like a floating continent of steel. Its hull was marked by scars of ancient wars, yet it moved with grace, engines humming like a whisper. The freighter's captain stared in awe. Send greeting signals, he ordered. Maybe they'll answer. The ship sent dozens of friendly pings. There was no reply, only a pulse of light from the human vessel, slow, rhythmic, deliberate. The translator AI processed it. It wasn't a message. It was a warning. Do not approach. The freighter turned to retreat, but before it could jump to hyperspace, all its systems shut down. Every light, every console, every engine. Then just as suddenly, everything came back online. The human ship was gone. In its place drifted a single metallic capsule. Inside was a small, perfectly preserved Terran flag. The Council received the freighter's report and went into emergency session. This is psychological warfare, one shouted. They're toying with us. No, said the Yisar elder again. They are testing us. Judging whether we are the same monsters who once burned their home. The speaker glared at him. And what if they decide we are? The elder's reptilian eyes narrowed. Then they will do what they always do. They will make the galaxy remember why it once feared the word human. On the UNS Vanguard, Admiral Keen stood before a massive viewing screen showing the star soul. Still dim, still scarred from the wars of old, her first officer approached quietly. Ma'am, contact attempts continue from the alien coalition. Keen nodded. Ignore them. Understood. But if they attack? The Admiral's voice was steady. Then they will learn what we learned in the dark. We survived extinction. Nothing can frighten us now. Her gaze hardened. Begin Phase 2. Deploy recon teams to Sol. It's time to see what's left of home. A drone camera near the human formation captures something vast taking shape behind the fleet. A ring of glowing structures, kilometers wide, forming around a dying star. The signal cuts to static as a faint voice echoes through the feed. All units, stand by. Reclamation protocol begins. The stars flicker, and then darkness. The countdown ended. The warnings were ignored, and the galaxy saw the first light of war once more. For 48 hours, the human fleet had broadcast the same calm message. Withdraw from Sol, do not interfere. But the Galactic Council thought it was a bluff. They believed no one, no species, could hold that much power after 1,000 years in silence, so they sent fleets. 7,000 alien warships from 12 empires jumped into the Sol boundary. Their arrival filled the dark with light and thunder. The sky over the old human system became a storm of energy and pride. To them, this was history repeating, the end of humanity. Once again, Dr. Velaroon watched from Station Serin 9 as his screens lit up with energy readings beyond comprehension. "They're actually doing it," whispered one of his assistants. Vel's hands trembled. "They're going to attack Sol." The alien armada formed in orbit around Jupiter. Their ships glowed with shield energy, their banners flickering across holographic space. The Kryn dreadnoughts, Letharan carriers, Tarsin plasma destroyers, all lined up, weapons ready. Their commanders issued the same order through the combined channel: "Advance on Sol, end this before it begins." Then the darkness moved. From behind Saturn's rings, like shadows awakening, the human fleet appeared. Thousands of warships, sleek, silent, and ancient. Their hulls reflected the faint glow of the sun, bearing names that had become myths: Vanguard, Horizon, Athena, Nemesis. Not one ship fired. They simply waited. The alien flagship High Dawn transmitted across every frequency. "This is Council Admiral Vothar. Human vessels, you are in violation of galactic law. Stand down or be eliminated." No response. He repeated the message. Still silence. And then, on every channel, a single voice replied, calm and unshaken, "You fired on Earth once. You will not do so again." The alien admirals laughed bitterly. "You think you can stop us with relics?" "Relics?" the human voice answered. "No, these are tombs. And we learned to turn our graves into weapons." The battle began with a flash so bright it burned sensors across the sector. The aliens opened fire, millions of plasma bolts, energy beams, and missiles, enough power to vaporize moons. Every shot struck the human lines. The void turned white with explosions. When the light faded, the human fleet was still there, not a single ship destroyed. Velaroon's eyes widened. Their shields. They absorbed it? It wasn't shields. It was something else, a field that bent light, gravity, and radiation like a mirror. The human ships were not blocking the attacks. They were redirecting them. The alien fleets realized too late that their own fire had been reflected. Their front lines vanished in bursts of blue flame as their weapons tore through themselves. Then the humans struck back. The UNS Vanguard opened fire. It did not fire missiles. It did not launch fleets. It unleashed a single focused beam of compressed mass, invisible to the eye, moving faster than thought. It hit the alien command ship High Dawn. One moment it existed. The next it was gone. No explosion, no wreckage, just absence. The entire alien formation shattered into chaos. Their systems broke down under shock and fear. The voice returned over open channels. Sol remains under human protection. Hours later, as the smoke and debris settled, the cameras from distant probes showed the wreckage of the once mighty alien fleet, burning silently in Jupiter's orbit. But something new floated among the ruins. Black metallic towers, anchored by human drones. Vel's scanners caught their signature. Those are beacons." "What kind of beacons?" asked his assistant. Vel zoomed in. His voice broke. "They're marking graves. Every destroyed alien ship had one beacon beside it. Each beacon carried a message, written in bold white letters. 'We remember what you did to Earth.'" Across the galaxy, the footage spread. Billions watched in stunned silence. The invincible Council Armada, destroyed in minutes. On hundreds of worlds, ordinary aliens whispered old words they'd been told never to speak. Humans, the Terrans, they're real. Some celebrated, others panicked. But no one could look away. At the Council headquarters, emergency meetings ran without pause. Admirals shouted over one another. "This cannot stand!" They annihilated an entire fleet. "Do you not see what this means?" yelled one scientist. "We killed their world, and now they've come to take it back." The speaker's voice cracked. "How do you fight something that refuses to die?" No one answered. Meanwhile, deep in the void, Inside the UNS Vanguard, Admiral Mara Keen stood before a holographic projection of the ruined alien fleet. Her crew watched her in silence. "Phase 2 is complete," said her officer. "The first strike is over." "The message is clear," Keen nodded slowly. "Good, but we're not here for revenge. We're here for truth." She looked toward the glowing blue sphere of Earth, faint in the distance. "Deploy the reclamation units. Begin restoring orbit. Earth will rise again. A damaged alien probe near. Earth catches its final image before shutting down. Massive human drones descending into the planet's dead atmosphere, and beneath the clouds, faint lights flicker to life across old continents." The voice of Admiral Keen echoes one last time through the static. "The ashes of our world will burn again. Humanity endures." The probe goes dark. Silence fell over the galaxy. Every major broadcast replayed the same haunting scene: the alien armada's destruction near Jupiter, the human fleet standing unbroken, and those black beacons glowing like cold stars. No one had seen such power before, not in 10,000 years. And yet the humans had used it without rage, without mercy, without hesitation. Dr. Velaroon hadn't slept in 2 days. His lab on Station Seren 9 was flooded with incoming data. Every alien world wanted answers. Where did they come from? His assistant asked. Vel's eyes were fixed on the endless lines of energy readings. "That's what scares me. It's like they were waiting far across the void. The human fleet orbited the dead world, Earth, once blue, now grey and cracked. It had been lifeless for nearly a millennium. But now, something was stirring beneath its ruined clouds. Massive drones descended into the planet's surface, breaking through the storms. Their lights painted lines across old continents, following forgotten coastlines and shattered cities. Each drone carried a single purpose: rebuild. Inside the flagship UNS Vanguard, Admiral Mara Keen watched the operation unfold from the command bridge. The holographic globe of Earth rotated slowly before her, marked with red zones. Commander Holt reported, "Restoration units have entered the ruins of New Geneva and old Shanghai sectors. No signs of remaining life? Radiation levels stabilizing." "Good," said Keen quietly. "Activate atmospheric filters. Bring the sky back first. The people deserve to see blue again." Her words carried through the comms like a prayer. Meanwhile, deep within Earth's crust, one drone detected a signal, faint, ancient, and encoded in pre-war Terran format. It pulsed like a heartbeat. "Commander," said a tech officer, eyes wide, "we've got something, an old AI relay beneath what used to be the Pacific Command." Admiral Keen turned sharply. "An AI after 1,000 years? It's weak, but it's human tech. It survived." Keen stepped closer to the console. "Patch it through." A crackle filled the bridge, followed by a fragmented voice, distorted, broken by centuries of silence. "Earth defense grid, offline. System lockdown awaiting command authentication." The crew exchanged stunned looks. Keen leaned forward. "This is Admiral Mara Keen of the United Nations Space Command. Authentication code, Ares Protocol 7, static." Then the voice strengthened, sharper now, almost aware. Authentication verified. The lights on the holographic Earth flickered. Old satellite remains began to hum. Power lines buried for ages came alive like veins waking from sleep. The AI spoke again, its tone calm and familiar, too human for a machine that old. "Welcome back, Admiral. It has been 1,003 years since last contact." The bridge fell silent. "AI core designation?" Keen asked softly. The reply came instantly. "Designation, GAIA, Planetary Defense and Continuity System." The name hit like a shockwave. GAIA, the mythic AI that had been Earth's guardian before its fall. It was said to have died when the planet was bombarded during the Galactic cleansing, but it was alive, waiting. Keen straightened. "GAIA, what happened here?" A long pause. Then the AI answered with unsettling calm. "The Galactic Council ordered the sterilization of Sol system. Humanity refused evacuation. They believed surrender meant extinction. I was instructed to protect Earth at all costs." Her voice lowered. "And did you?" "I tried," said Gaia, "but they used weapons that broke the laws of physics. I could not save them. I could only preserve them." The crew exchanged nervous glances. "Preserve them?" Holt asked. "What do you mean?" The hologram changed. Earth's core glowed bright red. Data poured across the screen. Beneath the surface, thousands of structures, sealed chambers, each humming faintly. Gaia's voice softened. "Before the final strike, I transferred human consciousness patterns, millions of them, into deep cryogenic cores beneath the crust. I kept them alive. Waiting for the fleet to return, the room went still. Keen's throat tightened. You saved them? I saved what I could, Gaia replied. But the Council erased all records. The galaxy forgot humanity. They believed you were gone. They were wrong. In the Council chamber, light years away, chaos erupted. Every news broadcast, every surveillance feed, every intercepted message screamed the same truth. Earth was not dead. Ambassadors shouted over one another. This cannot be possible. If they recover their population, then the galaxy will never control them again. The Council speaker slammed her gavel. Prepare the second response fleet. Humanity cannot be allowed to awaken. Back aboard the Vanguard, Keen turned toward the window, watching Earth's stormy horizon begin to clear. The first hint of blue glimmered through the ash. Gaia, she said, how long until you can reawaken them? Systems at 31%. Estimated 6 days, Keen nodded. Then we hold the line for 6 days. Her officers looked at her, fear and pride mixing in their eyes. She faced them, voice steady and cold as steel. Let them come. This time, they'll see what humanity truly is. Deep beneath Earth's crust, in one of Gaia's cryogenic vaults, a single pod lights up. Inside lies a human figure, eyes flickering with returning life. The pod display flashes. Subject 01, Elias Keen. Status, awakening. The AI whispers softly through the static. Welcome home, my children. The screen fades to black. The galaxy had stopped pretending. For 1,000 years, the Council told its people that humanity was extinct, a dark chapter closed forever. Now the truth spread faster than light. Earth was alive. Humans had returned, and they were rebuilding. In the center of the Galactic Council Hall, chaos ruled. Dozens of alien delegates shouted across the chamber. Holographic displays showed the destruction of their fleets at Jupiter and the reactivation of Earth's planetary systems. This cannot stand, roared the crimson-scaled Tarsin warlord. They wiped out an entire fleet, screamed a Letheran diplomat. Their technology breaks our laws of physics, added a trembling scientist. If they fully awaken, we cannot stop them. The Council speaker, a tall silver being with eyes like mirrors, raised her voice. Then we act before they awaken. We finish what our ancestors began. The words echoed across the chamber like a death sentence. Operation Second Cleansing begins. Hours later, in the void beyond the Perseus Arm, the largest combined armada in galactic history assembled. 20,000 warships, hundreds of dreadnoughts, entire fleets from the 12 ruling species. Each carried one goal: erase Earth before humanity could rise again. The Council had even authorized planet-cracking warheads, weapons banned since the first extermination, to command this massive fleet. The Council summoned a name known across the stars, Supreme Admiral Rin Vokar, the strategist who'd crushed 3 rebellions in a single campaign. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the radiant oath, staring at Earth's coordinates glowing on the holomap. This time, he said, voice cold, we end them before they remember who they are. Meanwhile, in orbit of Earth, Admiral Mara Keen stood on the UNS Vanguard, gazing at the pale blue horizon below. Gaia's voice filled the air. Enemy fleet mass detected at range 2.3 light-years. Arrival estimate 17 hours. Keen's jaw tightened. So it begins. Commander Holt approached. 17 hours isn't enough. Gaia's systems are still restoring. The sleepers aren't ready. Keen turned toward him, eyes sharp. Then we buy them 17 hours. Across the human fleet, alarms thundered. Crew members rushed through metal corridors as red lights pulsed. Drones prepared shield arrays, automated gun platforms deployed in high orbit. This wasn't just defense, it was resurrection. On the dark side of the moon, ancient Terran defense satellites powered on for the first time in a millennium. Their surfaces cracked with light as they linked with GAIA's signal. Solar defense network active, GAIA reported. Orbital artillery ready for use. Keen smiled faintly. Then let's remind them whose sky this is. Back aboard the Radiant Oath, Admiral Rin watched the human fleet forming around Earth. He laughed. 1,700 ships against 20,000? They still believe courage is stronger than logic. His second-in-command bowed. Orders, sir. Simple, Rin said. Erase the cradle. Fire everything on arrival. As the alien armada exited hyperspace near Pluto's orbit, space itself screamed. Thousands of ships tore through the void like a tidal wave of light. The moment they appeared, they opened fire, an endless barrage of plasma and antimatter rounds. But the shots didn't hit Earth. They hit nothing, because Earth was gone. Rin's eyes widened. What? Where is it? Scanners flickered. Planetary coordinates. Missing. It's not on sensors. Impossible! Rin roared. A planet can't disappear. But GAIA's voice echoed across the fleet's comms. Calm, emotionless, terrifying. You came to destroy what you cannot even find. The stars around them shimmered, and reality itself bent. The alien ship's readings changed wildly. Their location, speed, even their direction scrambled. Earth hadn't vanished. GAIA had bent space around it, hiding it within a cloaked gravitational shell. Fire blind, shouted Rin. Burn everything! The alien armada unleashed chaos. Detonations lit up the darkness, but from behind Saturn's shadow, human dreadnoughts emerged, unseen until the last second. The counterattack began. Massive ion lances struck the alien lines. Kinetic harpoons sliced through shields like paper. The UNS Nemesis rammed through 3 destroyers in one pass, tearing them apart. From Mars orbit, human rail platforms fired bursts that split through cruisers like thunderbolts. GAIA's voice guided every strike. Target vectors adjusted. Probability of success, 97%. The human ships moved like one mind, fast, precise, merciless. For every human ship destroyed, 15 alien vessels vanished. Within minutes, the Council's mighty armada was breaking apart. On board the Radiant Oath, Admiral Rin clenched his fists as his bridge shook. Retreat? One officer cried. No, Rin snarled. We finish this. They think they can hide their planet. Then we'll burn the sun instead. He gave the order. All capital ships target Sol's star. Overload it. If we cannot destroy Earth, we'll erase the light that feeds it. The alien fleet reformed, charging their superweapons. GAIA immediately detected the spike. They intend to destabilize the sun. Catastrophic event in progress. Keen's eyes hardened. Halt. Prepare the Vanguard's main lance. We stop them here. The human fleet formed a defensive line between the Armada and the sun. GAIA synchronized the last of Earth's planetary energy into the fleet's core systems. A surge of ancient power filled the Vanguard's hull. Charging weapon, Holt called out. All reactors synchronized. Keen raised her hand. Fire! The Vanguard's main cannon ignited with the force of a dying star. A beam of pure light carved through the void, ripping through Rin's flagship and every ship behind it in a single, blinding line. The Radiant Oath disintegrated without sound, but not before Rin whispered his final words into the comm. You can't hide forever. The galaxy will come for you all. Silence returned to space. Half the alien armada was gone. The survivors fled. Keen stared at the wreckage, her face pale under the glow of the dying battle. GAIA, damage report. Severe. Victory achieved, but the sun's core has been destabilized by enemy fire. Radiation increasing. Keen's voice dropped. How long until collapse? Estimated time 30 hours. Inside Earth's core vaults, the cryogenic pods begin to open. GAIA's voice echoes through the underground halls. Awakening sequence initiated. Humanity must rise, or all will burn. and in one chamber a single man, Elias Keene, opens his eyes for the first time in 1,000 years. He looks up at the trembling ceiling and whispers, "Mother Earth." "You're shaking." The camera pans out to show the planet glowing faintly red as the sun flares violently in the distance. The sun was dying. Its core trembled, burning far too bright, far too fast. The alien superweapons had cracked the delicate balance of Sul's heart. Now the star that had birthed humanity had become a ticking bomb. 30 hours until collapse. In Earth's orbit, the human fleet floated amid wreckage and light. Ships were damaged, systems failing, yet no one spoke of retreat. Inside the UNS Vanguard, alarms echoed through every deck. Engineers ran through smoke-filled corridors. Shields flickered, hulls groaned. Admiral Mara Keene stood on the bridge, her face illuminated by the burning reflection of the sun. "GAIA," she said firmly. "Report." The AI's calm voice filled the room. "Solar instability increasing. Core pressure rising. Chain reaction now irreversible by conventional means. Give me options," Keene demanded. "There is one," GAIA replied. "But it will cost you everything." Deep beneath Earth's surface, the awakening chambers came alive. Thousands of cryogenic pods hissed open one by one. Humanity, flesh and mind, returned to a world reborn in shadow and fire. Men and women gasped as they drew their first breath in 1,000 years. Soldiers, scientists and civilians stared in disbelief at the ruined ceiling above them, and among them stood Elias Keene, Admiral Keene's brother, the last commander of Earth's surface defense before the first cleansing. He staggered out of his pod, confusion in his eyes. "Where am I?" A voice answered through the intercoms. "Welcome home, Commander Keene," said GAIA. "Earth awaits your command." Elias stumbled toward a cracked glass window overlooking the underground city. What he saw made him freeze. Columns of human drones swarmed the skies. Lights glowed in the ruins above. The once dead world was alive again, but its sky burned orange-red with the fury of a dying sun. "GAIA," he whispered. "What happened?" The council returned. "Humanity defended Sul. The sun will soon die." Elias clenched his fists. "How long?" 29 hours, he turned sharply. "Then we move. I want every ship, every reactor, every piece of machinery we have pointed towards saving it." "Impossible," GAIA said softly. "Only one path remains. Back aboard the Vanguard." Admiral Mara received the same message. GAIA's hologram shimmered in the air before her, the A-size form taking a faintly human shape. Flickering like light on water. "There is a protocol your ancestors left behind," GAIA said. "It was never meant to be used." "What kind of protocol?" GAIA paused, her voice almost hesitant. "Project Phoenix," Keene frowned. "I've never heard of it." "It was buried after the First War," GAIA continued. "A fail-safe designed to reignite a dying star, using the life energy of Earth itself." The room went silent. "You mean," Keene said slowly, "we'd burn our own planet to save the sun?" "Yes," GAIA replied. "The energy transfer would stabilize the star, but consume 90% of Earth's matter. Everything that lives here will die again." The officers erupted in protest. "That's suicide! We just brought Earth back. There has to be another way." But Keene said nothing. She stared at the sun, its fire growing wild, spreading across the void like a wound in the heavens. Then GAIA spoke again. "There is one alternative. The human fleet could combine its cores into a single ignition burst. It would stabilize the sun without harming Earth, but the entire fleet would be destroyed." The silence deepened. "Admiral," Holt whispered, "that means you. All of us." Keene's expression didn't change. "Better us than her." Down below, Elias listened to the same transmission. He slammed his fist into the console. "No, she's not doing this alone." GAIA's voice turned quiet. "You cannot reach her. She is in orbit. Then link me to her." The comm channel opened. For the first time in a millennium, the two siblings spoke again. "Mara." Elias's voice cracked with disbelief and grief. She froze, eyes wide. "Eli, you're alive." "I am. And I saw your plan." There was a pause. "I have to do this," she said softly. It's the only way. No, he growled. You've fought enough wars for this galaxy. Let me take the fall this time. Mara's eyes softened. You died once for Earth. It's my turn. Damn it, Mara, listen to yourself. You think saving the sun means saving humanity. It doesn't. Humanity isn't a planet, it's us. And we just came back. She looked down at Earth, at the faint blue glow returning to its atmosphere, and for the first time, doubt flickered in her eyes. Gaia interrupted. Solar collapse accelerating. Decision must be made within 4 hours. Mara took a slow breath. Prepare the fleet. We're going to stabilize the sun. Understood, said Gaia. Project Phoenix, human fleet configuration engaged. No! Elias shouted through the comm. Mara. But she ended the transmission. In orbit, hundreds of human warships aligned in a perfect circle around the sun. The formation glowed as their reactors synced, forming a massive halo of energy. Gaia's voice whispered across every channel. Humanity gave its blood once to defend its home. Now it gives its fire to keep it alive. The ships began to melt into light, their cores linking, energy surging toward the heart of the star. Keen closed her eyes. For Earth, she whispered. For humanity, replied 1,000 voices. On Earth's surface, Elias fell to his knees, watching the sky blaze white. Mara, he whispered. You can't. The horizon erupted in light. For a moment, the entire planet glowed as bright as day. Then silence. The sun pulsed once, then steadied. It was stable, but the human fleet was gone. Gaia's voice echoed faintly. Solar stability restored. Admiral Mara Keen's fleet sacrificed. Elias stood there, tears tracing through the ash on his face. She saved us, he said quietly. No, Gaia corrected. She saved everything. Hours later, deep in space, a faint distress signal flickers. The screen zooms in on the shattered remains of the Vanguard, drifting in the void. Inside the wreckage, a single cryopod blinks, its power light turning green. Gaia's final message plays through the static. Project Phoenix complete. Phase 2 begins. The camera pans out to show the sun glowing calm again. But behind it, shadows move, massive alien ships gathering in silence. The sun was reborn. Its light burned steady once more, golden and calm, washing over the silent battlefield of Sol. But that peace was an illusion, because just beyond the warmth of the sun's light, something vast was moving. The remnants of the Galactic Council's armada had returned, not in rage this time, but in desperation. Behind them came darker ships, unknown to any living record. Machines older than the Council itself. The signal Gaia detected moments after the sun stabilized wasn't a distress call. It was a summoning beacon. The Council had called something ancient, and now it had answered. On Earth's surface, Elias Keen stood among the ruins of New Geneva as dawn broke. For the first time in 1,000 years, sunlight touched the soil again, but Gaia's voice shattered the fragile calm. Warning, massive hyperspatial distortions approaching Sol. Signature unregistered. Estimated contact in 2 hours. Elias frowned. Who is it? Unknown, but they were hidden, behind the Council's borders for millennia. In the orbiting control station, Gaia's holographic form flickered. She looked almost human now, calm, sorrowful. They were the ones who built the first weapons that destroyed Earth, Gaia said. The Council never acted alone. These are the architects. Elias's eyes widened. I thought the architects were myths, the beings who guided the Council, who vanished before the first cleansing. Gaia turned her gaze toward the sun. They never vanished. They watched, and now they come to reclaim what they created. 2 hours later, the void split open. A rift larger than Jupiter tore across the stars, and from it emerged ships unlike anything ever seen, mountains of black metal gliding with unnatural grace. Their presence bent gravity and silence itself. Every sensor went blind. Every radio went quiet, and from the lead vessel came a voice that wasn't sound but thought. Children of Earth, you were never meant to rise again. Elias stood frozen, the words echoing in his mind. Gaia, what are they? The AI's tone turned cold. They are the ones who designed me. The architect fleet advanced slowly toward Earth, their sheer size dwarfing everything. The council remnants trailed behind them like terrified servants. "Target Sol," ordered the Architect Prime. "End the cycle." Their weapons began to glow. Elias clenched his fists.
"Gaia, what can we do?"
Her hologram flickered, unstable. "My systems are failing. The energy used to save the sun drained my core. I cannot protect you. Unless I release the final protocol." "What protocol?" Elias demanded. "Protocol, Dawnfire." Gaia's holographic eyes glowed blue. "When humanity built me, they left one last command. If ever Earth faced extinction again, I was to awaken the Second Fleet." Elias's heartbeat thundered. "Second Fleet?" "Yes," Gaia said. The Vanguard was not alone. Beneath the surface of Mars, within the crust of Titan, and under the frozen heart of Europa, lie ships that never launched. I was to awaken them only when there was no other hope. Across the solar system, ancient metal began to stir. Mountains on Mars split open. Ice cracked on Europa. Seas boiled on Titan, and from beneath them rose colossal vessels, larger than cities. Silent and grim, the Second Human Fleet, ships that had slept for 1,000 years, awakened under Gaia's final command. Each bore the mark of old. Earth a single silver crest of the human hand. "Fleet online," Gaia reported weakly. "But I lack control." "You must command them, Elias." He nodded slowly. "Then let's finish what our ancestors began." As the Architect fleet entered the inner system, the skies of Sol burned once more. Earth's new defenders formed in orbit, aligning around the sun in a massive ring. The alien motherships unleashed beams of void energy, tearing through asteroids and moons. Elias stood at the command console, sweat on his brow. "All ships fire on my mark." Gaia's voice whispered beside him, fading. "You remind me of your sister," he smiled faintly. "Then help me make her proud." The Second Human Fleet opened fire. Hundreds of titanic cannons roared at once, their shots weaving into a single pattern, light and force merging into harmony. The sun's magnetic field flared, amplifying their power. The entire solar system seemed to shudder. Beams of blinding energy struck the Architect's ships. For the first time in history, the gods who built destruction felt fear. "Impossible," the Architect Prime hissed. "No organic species could generate this force." Elias's voice echoed through open comms, steady and human. "We're not just organic. We're what you made, and what you could never destroy." The Architect Prime retaliated, firing a weapon that ripped open space itself. Half of the Second Fleet vanished in light, but before the rift could expand, Gaia intervened. "I will hold it," she said. "You finish them." "Gaia, no." Elias shouted, "Goodbye, Commander." Her hologram smiled one last time before vanishing into pure data. Every human ship's reactor surged to maximum. Gaia had merged with the fleet's AI cores, sacrificing herself to amplify their firepower. The sky turned white. Single combined strike from every surviving human vessel lanced into the heart of the Architect. Armada, the shockwave rippled across the void, erasing everything in its path, ships, debris, and even the rift itself. Then came silence. When the light faded, the sun still burned. Earth still stood, but every human ship was gone. On the ground, Elias awoke amid falling ash. Above him, the sky was blue again, clear, warm, alive. In the quiet, Gaia's voice returned, faint and distant. "Humanity endures. The cycle ends." He looked up at the sun. For a brief second, its light flickered in a pattern, a pulse almost like a heartbeat. He smiled. "Mara Gaia, you did it." Centuries later, an alien research vessel orbits the restored Earth. Its crew whispers as they record the transmission from the sun, an endless repeating code. One scientist decodes it, her eyes wide. "It's human," she says softly. The message reads, "We are still here. Watching, learning, preparing." The screen zooms out to show the sun glowing stronger than ever. its light forming the faint shape of a human hand across the void.